Andy Scantland, you look amazing. And today we are vanquishing evil management.
Evil management. Man, Tim, have we had any impact in vanquishing evil management yet?
I don't know. I don't know. I wonder if there's anybody listening. I think we're having fun making these videos.
Right.
I will say one impact that this can have for me personally, maybe for you too, although I think you're kind of like perfect at leadership. So is it causes me to have to think back through my style of leadership, why I've adopted these practices, most of the time because I've seen what I consider bad practices, and having to dig into them to understand what caused this evil. Because it's easy to say that person sucks.
Right.
But people generally don't want to be bad people. Some do, for sure, but most don't. And there's usually something else going on. And I think for me, that's been helpful. It's been impactful for myself just to kind of reevaluate myself. What about you? What do you think?
I think you're absolutely right on. It helps us examine ourselves, and it helps us think about why we do what we do and be intentional and conscious about it. And I'm totally in agreement with you that part of the evil we bring into this is judging other people and not fully looking at ourselves. And one of the topics, and it's a great segue into what we're talking about today, one of the topics that keeps coming up as people are returning to work, as people are doing their planning for next year, as people are trying their best to hire people, is this concept of trust. Trust in the workplace, trust in my team, trust in my leaders, trust in the organization. And I wonder if we could explore that today and see what the connection between evil management is and trust. So
what your experience is people are just running full embrace back into this trust with no concerns at all, right? It's a beautiful thing.
Right. Well, I think people are questioning a lot of things. And one of the things they're questioning is, do I really trust the people around me to look out for me, to do what they say they're going to do? And if they come to a conclusion that is maybe no, it's really unsettling for them.
Yeah, it's going to be a more dynamic place. We're trusting other people with our health, whether that's true or not. That's how we feel.
Right.
That's a scary thing.
Right. Right. And so I'd throw this question out to you. How important is trust in leadership?
I mean, it's huge, right? So, we talked about talent management, right? So how do we manage our current talent? How do we make sure they're aligned with their roles and their scopes of work, the type of work they want to be doing? And how do we bring in new complementary talent that lifts up and up levels the team rather than, creates questions on why new people are brought in? But now that we're assembling the team, trust is the glue, right? That keeps the team together. It's when things get tough or when things are undefined, there's questions.
Right.
Will the team act autonomously or will they wait? Mm-hmm. And a lot of that depends on trust, I think.
Right, right. I'm right with you. I think trust is, to use your metaphor, trust is the glue that holds every positive relationship we have in our lives.
Yeah.
Right. And when it's not there, what's the impact?
Falls apart.
It falls apart. Right. And to your point, we tend to freeze up. We tend to shut down when there's not trust involved. It's a really hard fight to come to work every day if we don't feel like we're trusted or we can't trust other people.
It's true.
Right?
True.
Okay. So we've identified this as a humongous thing.
Yep.
What are the elements of trust in your mind?
So I wrote this article, like in 2017, I think.
Wow.
We'll drop it in the comments of this post, or the body of the post.
How'd you know we're going to be talking about this today, way back in 2017?
You know what, though? It's something that keeps reoccurring, right? It's called integrity, ... What is that anyway? Because the funny thing is, a lot of companies will say, like, we want people of integrity, and they mean we want honest people. Well, like, that doesn't make sense for you to ask for that. Like, we should all assume we need honest people. And one of the things that came out in this article was I put together my personal trust equation. So trust equals integrity plus personal responsibility times mutual respect. And I kind of think if we follow that equation, starting with ourselves, we will be able to create trust. If we follow this equation in measuring our relationships with other people, we can see why trust may be breaking down.
Right. So I love this equation. Give me the 30-second definition of integrity in your mind.
Well, as dictionary.com states it, there are 3 definitions. 1, adherence to moral or ethical principles. 2, the state of being whole or undiminished. 3, sound, unimpaired, or perfect condition under pressure. And I think if we take definitions 2 and 3, I am whole enough to understand what I'm good at, what I can rely on me for. And I also understand my blind spots and where I need help, where I know I'm probably not going to be able to deliver or make decisions or whatever on my own. And who can I bring in? That in itself creates a little bit of trust, where people say Tim is competent, Tim can be given an assignment, Tim can put together a project, and it's going to be good. The third definition is sound, unimpaired, in perfect condition under pressure, like a ship's hull when it's in the water and the water is exerting pressure. That's the linchpin right there. Will Tim continue to be Tim, the Tim that we've expected him to be, when the storm comes, or will he collapse and crush his team? Can we depend on him to continue being stable?
Right. Yeah, I underlined that in my head when you said that. Under pressure. It's easy to be trustworthy when things are going great.
Yeah.
When things are easy, when we're winning. It's way harder when things are tough and you got to make choices.
You know, and we've talked about this before. I believe in being a roof over the team, right? So when the storms come, the storms hit me, and my team can continue to operate without worrying about what's going to happen with the storm, because I have it taken care of. And so if we have that equation, we have integrity plus personal responsibility. Well, my team may see that integrity, that awareness of my blind spots, the competency and the stability under pressure. But if I don't take personal responsibility, I'm still going to make mistakes. So when I make mistakes, do I own it, or do I throw somebody under the bus? When my people make mistakes and I'm that roof to the organization and I take the brunt of it, great. Do I then corner that person later and be like, hey, shit rolls downhill, you're in trouble now? Why am I being the roof then, if I'm going to do that, right? So that personal responsibility and that mutual respect to let the person, the other people around, maintain their dignity, that kind of focusing on people's development, not on discipline. I think those 3 things really bring the trust equation together. Does that make sense?
It does. Yes. And I love how you're thinking about this. Is how do I show up as a leader during these times, and how do I show up when others don't meet their commitments? Right. And I've got a choice in those moments, right? I can choose to deflect, I can choose to blame, I can choose to punish, or I can choose to learn and use it as a development moment.
Absolutely. You know, and there's that, you know, with the other thing that I have going on, the kindness change, we talk about leading with kindness. We talk about the importance of recognizing the human on the other side of every situation,
Right.
and just giving some thought, some intentionality to, if I was them, what would be the best way this situation works out, right? So if somebody else doesn't live up to their expectations, right, and you have to talk with them about it, if it was me, how would I want that conversation to happen? It doesn't mean you can't have those difficult conversations. It just means you allow them their dignity,
Mhm.
and you allow them a route of development. You don't corner them and terrorize them.
Right. Right. Yep. So I want to take this up or down a level. I'm not sure which direction we're going, but there's trust we have in others, and there's trust that others have in us because we're meeting our commitments, because we're showing up in integrity. I have a belief, which I'd love your impressions on. I think until we trust ourselves, it's very hard to develop trusting relationships in the world.
Yeah, I can see that. So early on in careers, a lot of people have that imposter syndrome. Oh my gosh, I've never done this before, I'm probably going to fail, which is a lack of belief in yourself. And it's characterized often by the allowance of massive amounts of anxiety, right?
Right.
So how does that anxiety play out within you? How do you allow that anxiety to impact others and your surroundings, right?
Right.
You have, and we talked about this a lot with, evil management. A lot of it's born out of fear.
That's right.
So how do we recognize, why am I afraid right now? Why am I feeling anxiety? How do I get past it? Who can help me? And that's the thing. You don't have to do this yourself. There are other people who can help you if you'll ask, if you'll share, if you'll delegate.
Right. Right. When we're scared, when we have anxiety, we tend to feel like we're on an island. We're all by ourselves. Right.
Fight or flight mode all the time.
All the time. Yeah. And part of that growth in trusting ourselves is knowing that we can reach out and something good will happen.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right. Right.
And it's a better way to lead anyway, right? So that second definition of integrity, understanding your blind spots, right?
Mhm.
If you are having fear and anxiety about something because you don't feel like you're good at it, share it with somebody who is good at it.
Mhm.
Go find that person and be like, hey, I need you to help me with this. I'm delegating this part to you. Chances are, if they're good at it, they probably enjoy doing it for the most part. Right? Maybe they can teach you. Maybe you're not interested in learning, but they can do it. Or maybe you can use it as an employee development opportunity. This person's super good at it, but maybe they're not so happy about doing it all the time anymore. But this person wants to learn it. Pair them together, it takes it off of my plate, lessens my anxiety, and it's actually allowing a mentorship to happen. Somebody's getting developed, somebody's growing.
Right. And we're delivering in the end, right?
Yeah.
It occurs to me that it comes back to how we view fear and anxiety and negative signals, negative feedback.
Yep.
We can view it as an opportunity to feel bad about ourselves, to minimize ourselves, to feel shame for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Or we can just simply use it as a signal to say, hey, something's sideways here. What's going on for me, and what do I want to do about it?
It's that curiosity to question why you are feeling, why you
Right.
are hearing this message a certain way. Questioning why somebody's doing the things they're doing instead of reacting with anger. That little bit of curiosity can really take you from a place of defense to a place of actually problem solving, trying to figure out what is actually wrong and how can I be helpful? How can I deal with this better? Really de-escalates a lot.
Right. Right. Okay. All right. I want to wrap this up and feel like we're bringing it around full circle, because we've taken it from a place of trust to a place of how do we deal with ourselves. right? What's your takeaway from all this, Tim? How do we develop more trust in our world?
Well, integrity plus personal responsibility times mutual respect. Do an inventory. In which situations do you not trust yourself and why? Throw that equation up on the whiteboard across the top and list things under. Where am I not whole? Where am I constantly running into a blind spot that I did not know about? How do I manage that awareness of myself? Personal responsibility. Am I or am I not? If I tell an employee to do something and it causes trouble, do I let them take that? Or do I say, actually, I told them to do that. So you and I can talk about this. They can go on with their day. And mutual respect, right? How well am I respecting others and allowing them to maintain their dignity, promoting their dignity? And then you can also look at people you're having trust issues with and put that equation up and start to list the things that are gaps.
Right.
And what's your role in that?
Right.
How can you help them identify blind spots? How can you give them resources so that they can feel competent, promote their
Right.
integrity? How can you help them, coach them, give them tools to take personal responsibility? Why are they having trouble taking personal responsibility? Have you ever dug into that? Like, you might be
What's
able to
getting
help
in the way? Right.
And mutual respect. You know, that's kind of an issue, right? That's kind of one of the separators of evil people from evil management. If there are people that just don't have mutual respect for other people, there's not a lot you can do about that. But you can choose which roles they're allowed to be in and how they're allowed to affect other people. And you can use this as a thought process to break it down. If you're their manager, you can address it. If you're not, you can take it to their manager and not have emotional conversations, but really break it down into observable facts and criteria.
Right. Right. Yeah. I'm right with you. I agree 100%. That's a great model. And it occurs to me that taking a personal inventory of where I'm showing up trustworthy and where I'm not sounds like a scary exercise.
Ask your team, but will they trust you enough to tell you?
Right. 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 I talked to somebody today who told me, you know what? Me writing down my what I don't like about my job feels scary to me because it might be held against me. Right. So
That's
one
a
more
sign.
read. Right. That's a sign. And so what's the evil that we're vanquishing in this moment?
Broken relationships.
Right.
We can't control every aspect of every relationship we're involved in, but we can control our part.
Right.
We can get out of our emotional state and list out the observable things that we can bring as actionable, measurable feedback. That's kindness. Letting people know, hey, we're having issues. It's probably not news to you, right? But I thought about it, and here are the specific things that are causing issues for me that you're doing. And I'm wondering if I'm contributing, right? Not pointing at you and saying that you're the broken one. We're all broken. How am I contributing to what's going on with you? Maybe you're not, but that gives them an out to start talking about it without having to own it. And that is that mutual respect. That's allowing them their dignity.
Right. And it goes back to what you said. We're looking at broken relationships by choosing not to operate out of fear,
Yep.
but to operate out of courage and self-management and self-witness.
Yep. And you know what? You can't fix everything. This is not going to make things perfect. But if I'm going to have a broken relationship in my life, I want to know that I've done everything that I can
Right.
to contribute to the healing.
I've been intentional about taking charge of things I can control.
Yep. And I've extended grace.
Right. Wow. What a world that would be.
We'll see.
Cool. All right. One more evil management struck down.
All right. Thank you, Andy. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Tim. It's a pleasure, man. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.